Hello and welcome to the 28th day of June 2023. Cyril Aloysius is my name, and this is the newspaper review for today. I'm not alone, I have Mr. Victor Sioku by my side to look at the papers with me once again. Sir, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
How do you do?
Sharp. And you?
All right, I'm fine, I'm great. Okay, so it's actually no surprise that the rains are back again, and yeah, I feel bad because, man, the cold this period is something else. I don't know how you've been able to cope with it.
I like cold. I like it cold and hot. Yeah. But so do you know electricity is high? So when they take light at night, we just have fun asleep. We don't struggle when it's cold at night. Yeah.
All right, so we shall be looking at three papers as usual, and to begin the program, we'll start first by taking a look at the Guardian newspaper, where we have some interesting headlines. And the boldest headline here in the Guardian says, inflation and subsidy removal. Inflation and subsidy removal. 7.1 million Nigerians may become poorer as families face 5,700 naira monthly loss. Inflation and subsidy removal. 7.1 million Nigerians may become poorer as families face 5,700 naira monthly loss. Okay, that story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. And on page 3 of The Guardian, this one says, despite hitches, Nigerians join 2 million pilgrims pray at Mount Arafat. Despite hitches, Nigerians join 2 million pilgrims pray at Mount Arafat. That's on page 3 of The Guardian. And on page 4, this one says, beware, beware, kidnappers as students on the prowl. Beware, kidnappers as students on the prowl. Okay, that's the details of that headline is on page 4 of The Guardian. And on page 5 now, we have a motorist to pay 1,000 naira for proof of ownership certificate from July. Wow. Motorists to pay 1,000 naira for proof of ownership certificate from July. That's on page 5 of The Guardian newspaper. And on page 30 of The Guardian, this one says, Salah. Katsina government rejects 100 rams from philanthropist. Katsina government rejects 100 rams from philanthropist. That's on page 30 of The Guardian. And on page 6, this one says, lobbyists storm Bodilon. Lobbyists storm Bodilon for ministerial appointments. Lobbyists storm Bodilon for ministerial appointments. That's on page 6 of The Guardian. And lastly, on The Guardian, we have on page 3, this one says, Akpabio, Atiku, Khan, others advocate peace, sacrifice for national development. Akpabio, Atiku, Khan, others advocate peace, sacrifice for national development. That's on page 3 of The Guardian newspaper. That's the much you can take on The Guardian for today. You want details of the headlines you heard, do want to get a copy of The Guardian for yourself. And just before I move straight to the next paper, Mr. Victor Sioku, please let me get your thoughts on the headline here on page 6 that talks about inflation and subsidy removal. 7.1 million Nigerians may become poorer as families face 5,700 naira monthly loss. Please let me get your thoughts on this headline.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And for our Muslim viewers, Barakah the Salah to you.
Yep.
And
Happy Salah.
We pray that today marks a special day in your lives. It will be a year of blessing, not minding, especially in Nigeria, not minding the financial challenges that we face here and security challenges that we face. And lastly, just some days ago, or over the weekend, we got the news that a butcher was killed due to blasphemy.
Yes.
My heart and my prayers goes out to the
family of the butcher.
Unfortunately, it happened to a man, and when this news happen to men, they don't really make news out of it
because it's a man.
Yes, but I am not also saying that it is insensitive not to take it up there when it also involves a woman. But I want in terms of gender equality.
Can you compare that to Deborah's case?
Yeah, I can't compare that to Deborah's case, but we need this time around. This one is more gruesome, I think, to Deborah's time.
Considering the manner in which he was killed.
Not just only the manner, he was stoned. Not just stoned. The police were there
watching.
The police came early enough to stop the lynching, but they did not do anything. Reason, that they did not come prepared. Remember, we were talking the other day, I was talking about AK-47 and a pistol. That is the case that happened. People came with stone, even a tear gas. It was just so simple. Just imagine releasing like two
Two to
or
three
three.
yeah.
Good to go. But there was no tear gas.
I think that puts a big question mark on our security level in the country. I mean, again, a big question mark on our security level in the country. How can you, as a police, go to a crime scene unprepared? Why did you even leave your station in the first place if you were not prepared? So it doesn't make sense. What the excuse they are giving doesn't even make sense in the first place. It's almost like, okay, they are saying what they told them to say. Because it's just like what happened during the elections. You saw police standing there, and then people were making, some kind of comments that if you listen to it, you'll be like, is the police not there with
Are you
you?
saying comments? The police escorted the election violators that were carrying the ballot, escorted them. The videos are out there now. It's no secret. So
What is really going on in this country? Like, what is really going on? What is really going on?
So my heart goes out to the family. I don't know how it's going to stop.
It's a terrible one.
The response from the governor, the Sokoto state governor. I don't know what is wrong with that Sokoto, but let's start. Yes, you mentioned about this poverty. Unfortunately, 7.1 million Nigerians are entering the poverty list of formerly it was 133. So if you add 7.1, we have 140.1 million Nigerians
in poverty
that are in poverty. And Sokoto, that same Sokoto of that religion is dealing with, are number one on the list. The same Sokoto is number one on the list of the poorest states in the country. And what was the response from the governor? The governor did not condemn the killers. He did not. But he was just speaking for the people. For me, he was speaking for the people that killed the butcher.
More like he was trying to justify their actions.
Nobody should blaspheme our leader.
Seriously?
Our religious leader. It does not make sense.
Seriously?
Because people are dying.
So that is what. So he's indirectly trying to justify the killing of the young man.
I remember, if I take you back, but that's not what we were talking about. But if also take you back, he followed the footsteps of the former presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, because Abubakar released a statement to condemn the persons that killed Deborah.
Yes.
Then he withdrew the statement. And now gave us a reason that statement was not the one that sent it out on his Twitter handle. That every tweet that does not carry AA. Look at this leader. Well, somebody will say, thank God, no, he did not win. But a leader that, after sending that message, you're not telling us that any message that does not have AA on walls is not from you.
It's not from you.
Imagine. So that's the statement, 7.1 billion Nigerians. That's a lot numbers that are added. But am I surprised? I'm not surprised, because we've seen what has happened since January this year to June this year. The way Nigerians are crying. In fact, I'm even seeing that the number is even small.
Okay.
Compared to the poverty. Look at down the roads. Everywhere it's empty. People are not working. People are not doing business. People are not buying stuff. Shops cannot run. Industries cannot run.
Okay.
The cost of diesel is too high. You've added VAT of 7.5% on diesel. What else do you want?
Mr. Victor,
Forex is too high. Petrol is too high. The electricity bill, they are going to another regime by July the 1st to add 40% on top of the matter. How will people feel? The cost of food is expensive. Flooding has started in some parts of the country right now.
And they want to increase the salaries of the politicians.
Oh God, don't mention that. So, aside Sokoto, for me, those people out there in Sokoto, aside the religious thing that is happening there, Sokoto has lacked leadership. And I need to spell it out. The former governor of Sokoto that served for 8 good years. 8 good years. I'm talking about Aminu Tambuwa.
What did he do actually?
Did not do anything. How can a state like Sokoto, Sokoto was a very vibrant state back in the days. Now Sokoto is the capital of poverty in the country. And you even had the impetus to come out to become the governor, the president of this state. Yeah, he was an aspirant. He was an aspirant. So how dare you? How dare you No, we are laughing
Oh
over
my
you, but
God.
how dare you
Exactly,
come out
exactly.
to say you want to become the president
Like,
when your state is the number
you
one?
couldn't even lead a state. How much more a country? Yeah,
Yes.
I get.
So, second on the list, okay, from that list, you will find out that, well, one will say the southern part of the country is blessed, okay? And if you come down, you find out that just one state in the entire southern part of the country, including, I'm talking about both the west and the east, you have um, Bayelsa State. And it's a shame that Bayelsa State is second on the list, and it is the only state in the southern Nigeria to be marked red in that manner. Okay, mind you, have up to 8 states that the poverty is really dealing with. As in, when I mean acute, yeah, one might say, the one that is happening around there is acute, but when I mean tripled acute, okay, so you have states like Yobe State. One might say, okay, because of the conflict that is happening there, the Boko Haram conflict and Aswap conflict. You have Sokoto, which are the earlier mentioned. You have Kebbi State, okay, and you have Jigawa State.
Okay.
But somehow you just be like, these states like Jigawa, like Kebbi State, what the heck? And see, the issues I'm also having with these states is that you guys are up there in religion, okay? But you've forgotten that you need to walk the walk. Many persons out there does not even care.
Which now leads
They are
me to
looking
ask
out for
questions.
stipends.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Victor, but I feel I have questions now concerning this religious, religion of a thing. Has religion really actually brought more good to
No,
us?
bad. And okay, should I allow you to finish? Go ahead.
I would like to get your thoughts on the impact of religion in Nigeria as a country. Because
Should I start from the south?
personally, I feel like religion has actually done more harm than good to this country. But I don't know if you share a different opinion from mine. So let me hear you out.
I'm a Christian, no two ways. I'm not a pagan. I go to church at least once a week. But it hurts me when, even as Christians, that we are not ready to walk. We don't want to walk, but we want free food. We want free lunch, we want free meal. You don't want to train yourself. But one cool thing with most Christian pastors is that they will make sure that they groom you to go and walk. Okay? They groom you that there's no food for a lazy man. Okay. So you need to go out there and fend for yourself and fend for your family. And some Christians, some churches now are making you know that it is priority for you to go to work before coming to church. Okay? But this is more like a portion of Christian pastors. Okay? I'm not saying that the Northerners are doing opposite of that.
Okay.
But they need to start telling the people up there that, see, you need to go and till the ground. Okay? At the end of the day, yes, some might be like, there is famine, there is insecurity. My brother,
prayer cannot take the place of hustle.
And since the day of John the Baptist, people have been giving excuses.
Yes.
Okay? So, as Nigerians, as tough persons out there, we need to go out there and fend for ourselves. Now, for Bayelsa, you see all these things, they still have a way of you see those threats of behavioral patterns around it. In Bayelsa State, I visit Bayelsa all the time. I have friends, I have customers. I'm fully tied with Bayelsa. But I can still tell you that many a times, you see Bayelsa people folding their hands. Okay? But do they have natural resources? Yes. And I think they have been mismanaged. Part of this poverty that is happening
is down to
mismanagement
exactly
by their politicians and their leaders. Okay, but that does not also mean that the people do not have their own case to answer. Okay. Because you find out that many people out there are looking out for that oil and gas job, forgetting that there are also areas,
other things,
where you can make money.
Yes.
In Bayelsa, most people doing trading, as in when I mean a whole lot of, the number is crazy that you don't find any Bayelsan in some localities. You will not find any Bayelsan trading. They are just there gallivanting. Okay, other people from, especially the Igbos, will go there and they'll be making money and they'll be building houses. Okay, so I think, and it also goes down to governance, like I said, leaders. The government of the Ediri, before you know it now, 4 years will come, will finish. I think by December or so, November, they'll be having their
Mm.
next election. You will now ask, what have you even achieved as a governor? What jobs were you able, have you been able to create as a leader? Have you made your place open for businesses? If it's about reasons, they'll give you 1001 reasons. They'll tell you that flooding is affecting them, that they need more roads and all that. Forgetting that they have water, they have, guy, have you eaten their plantain? In fact, plantain, back in those days, plantain will come from Bayelsa, especially from southern Ijo into Port Harcourt. What about Ogbono? I've not seen any region that produces the finest ogbono. Ogbono, that's for it's a local delicacy here in Nigeria. Okay, than these guys. Are you getting me? So they need to. What about, yes? Some people might be like, their fish is dying and all that. Omo, but yes, I get fish. Fresh, good-looking fishes.
They are blessed. Generally, they are
I'm a
blessed.
living witness because I'm really close to them. So going forward, well, the numbers have been mentioned. Will anything happen this year to reduce these numbers? My answer is no. Why am I saying that? Because of we are still feeling the impact of this new forex regime and this fuel regime.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Victor, for your thoughts on that headline. And we'll be looking at the Nigerian Tribune for our next paper now. So the headline here, the boldest headline here on page 3, the Nigerian Tribune says, impunity, lack of transparency marred 2023 elections. Impunity, lack of transparency marred 2023 elections, according to EU on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. And on page 4, we have federal government introduces 1,000 naira annual levy for vehicles proof of ownership certificate. Federal government introduces 1,000 naira annual levy for vehicles proof of ownership certificates. That's on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. And on page 29, this one says, shake up as NAF redeploys 52 AVMs, 46 air commanders. Okay, shake up as NAF redeploys 52 AVMs and 46 air commanders. All right, that's on page 29 of the Nigerian Tribune. And over now to page 4, this one says Covenant University, UI, OAU, Redeemers University, Abu, 46 others make impressive outing in new ranking. That's on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. And on page 5, we have our problems not insurmountable. Tinubu tells Nigerians at Salah. Our problems not insurmountable. Tinubu tells Nigerians at Salah. Leading Nigeria hardest challenge in life. That's Buhari saying. Akpabio, Abbas, governors, Atiku, others greet Muslims. That story is on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. And on page 3, we have race for Senate leader divides stability group. Race for Senate leader divides stability group. Details of this headline is on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. And on page 6 now, we have fuel subsidy removal to fetch Nigeria 2 trillion naira in 2023, 11 trillion naira by 2025, according to World Bank. Fuel subsidy removal will to fetch Nigeria 2 trillion naira in 2023, 11 trillion naira by 2025, according to World Bank. That's on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune. And lastly, in the Nigerian Tribune for today, we have on page 28, this one says, NANS demand 3-year validity for UTME results. NANS demand 3-year validity for UTME results. Okay, that story is on page 28 of the Nigerian Tribune. That's the much you can take in the paper for today. Mr. Victor Silku, just before we go on a short break, please let me get your thoughts on the story here on page 3 the Nigerian Tribune that talks about impunity, lack of transparency, mad 2023 elections according to EU. What's your thoughts on this headline, please?
Yeah. So the EU, which I think should be the biggest body right now, have come out to say, see, there were issues with your election. And what are we saying? At the end of the day, even if this case, yes, is in court, even if this case favors the current president, um, it is no longer news that him being there is not they did not carry out the necessary procedures. Okay, the process that brought him out to become the president, that gave him that seat, is faulty.
Was faulty.
Yes, faulty. Now, with what they are saying, they made out 3 points. The EU made out 3 valid points, and I still embrace those points. One, for the fact that the government that is the presidency, they are the ones that appoint commissioners for INEX and their leaders. So you cannot be heading to a match. Let's say, for instance, you are Chelsea. Let's say you have Chelsea and Arsenal. So Chelsea are the ones bringing in the referee. They are the ones appointing linesmen.
Come on
They are
now.
the ones
Come
appointing
on now.
VAR.
And you expect Arsenal to win the game.
You expect Arsenal to win the game.
Come on now.
So they highlighted that, and I think they made a very, very valid point there.
But do you think these points are coming in late? Or you think
they're not coming in late?
Oh,
this
really?
particular point. No, it's not late because Nigerians has also agitated about it.
Because he's currently the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mm-hmm. So to some persons, this particular comment from the EU is late.
Yes, it is late, but it's good to document them. Let it be there for references. Sure. Cool.
Okay.
Secondly, they made mention that our electoral act is ambiguous. It is too broad. It was not simplified. Reason why there are plenty lacunas, plenty things to debate about. And I also agree with that too. Because what is happening there at the tribunal, at the end of the day, it gives room for any judge that wants to favor a particular candidate to pull out something and hold it as a reason not to favor the other party,
okay,
the other side. Okay, so I think they really made a valid point about that. Then lastly, they talked about INEC not following the procedures. You cannot set down the rules
and then later break them.
Or you don't follow those rules. Okay? And see, at the end of the day, this is the African style. And it's unfortunately, it is happening to the West Africa. Let me keep it around us. Let me not over-expatiate it. Reason, because just recently, look at what happened in Sierra Leone. Just today, the incumbent president has been declared winner for another term of 5 years. That's President Bio. Now, it is also highly stated that during the election in Sierra Leone, that the opposition party were not able, their agents were not allowed to verify or vet the results. Why are they saying this? Because in Sierra Leone, you need to score over 55% and above for you to be declared president, and for there not to have a second round of elections. Okay. Now, what happened? You had an election that the incumbent now scored 56 points something. Are you getting that?
Okay.
So just imagine if you did not make up to 2%. Let me just even give him extra 2%. That you don't make up to 2%. That means there will be a rerun. So that's why the other opposition are crying out loud. See, in many places in the country, our agents were not allowed to be part of the counting.
Which is wrong.
Which is wrong. You cannot also set out rules and you are stopping these other persons from getting access. We saw what happened in Rivers State. At a time, it was just more like one party taking control, making sure that other parties do not come close to INEC. Are you getting that? We saw those incidents, and it also played in Sierra Leone. And I just pray that Sierra Leoneans will not take this out of hand, because Sierra Leone is a place that we've been praying for peace. In 1992, between 1992 and 2002, they were fighting their civil wars. and a whole lot of persons died. I think about 50,000 persons or thereabout died due to the wars. And could you also imagine that the 1996 coup plotter is the current president? Okay, but that's a story for another day.
It's a story for another day. Thank you, Mr. Victor. Let's go on a quick break right now, and when we return, we'll take our last paper for the day and we'll call it a day. Please stay tuned.
Hey there! Are you looking to record your videos, do your voiceovers, and take your professional pictures? Look no further. With our state-of-the-art newsroom, photography, kitchen for our food content creators, and exclusive children's studio, we certainly can deliver the best studio experience. Our carefully designed studio space can bring your diverse creative content ideas to life. We aim to consistently serve value to our customers far and wide. Come, let Tharv Media give life to your dreams. Tharv Media, a slice of info.
Yes, you're welcome back from that short break, and still on the newspaper review, we shall be looking at the Nigerian News Direct for our last paper for today. The boldest headline here in the Nigerian News Direct is on page 3, and it says, Ed El Kabir, Nigeria's economic security problems surmountable. According to Tinubu, Ed El Kabir, Nigeria's economic security problems surmountable. That's Tinubu saying on page 3 of the Nigerian News Direct. And on page 2 now, we have Elite ranking. Times Higher Education ranks Covenant University 7th in Africa. Elite ranking. Times Higher Education ranks Covenant University 7th in Africa. Details of that headline is on page 2 of the Nigerian News Direct, and on page 17 we have Ed El Kabir, Ibiemi, Abiodun, Oyetola, others felicitate Muslims globally. Okay, that's on page 17. And on page 2 again, we have Ed El Kabir, IGP, Inspector General of Police, Egbotekun, directs CPs to reinforce security. Ed El Kabir, IGP, Egbotekun, directs CPs to reinforce security. That's on page 2 of the Nigerian News Direct. And on page 3, we have petrol subsidy removal. Petrol subsidy removal. Poverty to rise in Nigeria without cash transfer program. Petrol subsidy removal. Poverty to rise in Nigeria without cash transfer program. That's according to World Bank. That's on page 3 of the Nigerian News Direct. And over now to page 22 for further headlines. We have Afenifere writes Ogun APC. Afenifere writes Ogun APC denies issuing any statements to support Benga Daniel. That's on page 22. And lastly, in the Nigerian News Direct for today, we have over now to page 2 once again. This one says vehicle verification. LASG FRSC announced implementation of annual proof of ownership certificate. Okay, that's on page 2 of the Nigerian News Direct. That's the much you can take in the Nigerian News Direct, and of course the newspapers for today. Mr. Victor, before I call it a day on the program, please let me get your thoughts on this news here on page 2 that talks about a certain law that would warrant or allow car owners to pay 1,000 naira as proof of ownership for their cars. Please, let me get your thoughts on this headline.
Sorry, let me tell you. Can I tell you?
Oh my God.
There's a whole lot happening in the country.
Oh my God.
Do you know that most taxi drivers don't have papers anymore and they don't care? Because they will ask, why would I be spending? See, for you to even make original papers now in this country, you need to go up to 25,000.
This money, yeah, that's money.
Before it was about 7,000-8,000, but now, if you want to make original car paper, as in
real
original,
papers, real papers, yeah.
real papers, you need to spend up to 25,000 naira. Before they were doing moju.
And you're talking from an experience point of view now. Yes. The car owner.
Back then, in fact,
I'm getting there.
I got into problem. I did not know that the agent that was doing my renewals was doing sham work for me.
Hey.
And I was paying him at that time. I was paying him 8,000 naira. And the 8,000 naira for me, it was like the normal cost. Not until I was now educated that the insurance has to be not less than 8,000 naira. Just the insurance of my the cheapest insurance is not less than 8,000 naira. That was when I now knew that, hey,
You have been scammed.
Omo, this guy have been serving me fake papers. Are you getting that? But it is more like the normal thing that is happening. I need to tell you. So it will only take will I say experienced and intelligent police officers that can check very well
And know the
know.
fake from the real ones.
Yes, not just by citing it physically. If it's by citing it physically, you will not know. But with the numbers, you can go online and check.
Okay.
So for the ones that are tech savvy, they will find out.
Okay.
So now they've added this back to the main story: proof of ownership. Proof of ownership before now, sorry, you just do proof of ownership, especially when you are buying a used vehicle, okay, or you changed an engine of your vehicle. That is where in most cases where proof of ownership comes
It's required.
in. And it was once at
And
a
for
time
all.
and for all. But guy, they now want us to be renewing proof of ownership. So now it will be more like you renew proof of ownership, you will renew insurance, you will now do your normal car vehicle license yearly papers.
Now,
Are
all
you
this
getting that?
all this money
Then-
is excluding the fuel money you buy for fuel.
What is
All
fuel?
this is excluding the money you use to service the car. My God.
Excluding your mind you still have a driver's license.
My God.
That one is on its own now. So by the time you gather all this
Let's
money,
pray for car owners, please.
by the time you gather all this money, especially for commercial drivers, these are the things that make your cost of traveling expensive. So, unfortunately, for a government that know that right now Nigerians
Are crying.
and they are not allowing Nigerians to breathe, which is how I think it's
They
now
will not let the poor to
they
breathe.
allow the poor to breathe. They are not choking
Let
the poor so much.
the poor breathe. Don't suffocate us. You owe us that responsibility. My God.
So it's unfortunate, but one might be like 1,000 is too small now.
Ah.
They'll be ripping us now. Guys, go and add 1,000 or multiply 1,000 by the millions of
Nigerians
that
own a car.
own a car. You find out that that's so much money. And what are they even saying? That they want to use that proof of ownership and that payment to be tracking tracking.
Who are they tracking?
I wonder.
Who are they tracking?
I wonder.
We know these things. We know these things.
And see, by the time they start, this is more like trial phase. They are experimenting.
Oh.
1,000. No. For me, I'm seeing it as experimenting. It's starting by 1st of July. Experimenting with 1,000. My brother, before 4 years comes,
5,000.
that money might
5,000.
to 5,000.
All right, that's it on today's episode of the newspaper reviews. Thank you so much for staying faithful to your screen up until this time. My name is Cyril Aloysius and Mr. Victor Sioku. Thank you so much for your time with me.
Thank you, sir.
I really appreciate you. Please, if you are yet to subscribe to this channel, please do so. And of course, do also follow us on different social media platforms. Like, share, comment on this video. Please. So it's a bye for now until I come here again next time to enjoy the rest of your day.